watchman at a campsite closed for the winter notices a figure on the cameras that moves only when he isn't looking. Joe's house. Isolation changes how we see the world. But what if your eyes are deceiving you? What if the only window into reality is the lens of an old CCTV camera? And what it shows is impossible. Our final story took place in Minnesota, at a tourist base closed until spring. The truck gets stuck. Fuel is not infinite. There is one option. Walk to the nearest house, a quarter mile through icy hell. He makes it to a dilapidated single-story house, knocks. The door swings open so abruptly that he recoils. Joe stands on the threshold. An ordinary guy, about 50. But something about him was wrong from the start. Joe let him in, but the conversation didn't flow. Joe's eyes darted around the room, focusing on the ceiling, then on the wall behind the guest's back. He would fall silent mid-sentence, staring into the void. Our hero decides, to hell with talking. I'll just sleep. Joe turns off the light, but he doesn't leave. He stands in the doorway. For a minute, in total darkness, just watching. When Joe finally left, the real nightmare began. From above came footsteps, creaking, shuffling. The hero tries to rationalize. It's the snow, it's the wind. But there is a problem. The house is one story. There is no second floor. The sounds get louder, and suddenly, a loud bang right above his head. The hero sits up on the couch and sees him. Joe is standing in the doorway again. He had been standing there the whole time. Sound of furniture breaking, heavy breathing, an unnatural scream. Narrator, Joe lunges at him. No words, just animal rage. He tries to strangle the guy, muttering nonsense about some her who is lonely. She will be displeased, he screams. The hero manages to break free. He runs without a jacket into the blizzard to the next house. Normal people, Katie and Brandon, live there. In the morning, the neighbors tell the truth. 10 years ago, Joe's wife went missing. The body was never found, but everyone knows he killed her. The hero still lives in that area, and every time he drives past Joe's house, he remembers the sounds from the attic that doesn't exist. Who was walking up there? His wife's ghost? Or does Joe keep her there? Not entirely dead. David worked as a night watchman. A dream job. Sit in the warmth, watch TV shows, walk the perimeter once an hour. The base is empty. The nearest town is 30 kilometers down a snow-covered highway. At 2 a.m., the blizzard began. David was sitting in front of the monitors when he noticed it. On camera number 4, the far parking lot, a person was standing. The guest with clean boots. Sometimes the threat doesn't attack immediately. It politely knocks on the door. New York State. A guy working remotely gets stuck at home during a historic snowfall. The wind howls like it's in a tunnel. But suddenly, a new sound breaks through the howling. Strange. A dull thud and the sound of something heavy dragging, and then a weak, pitiful car horn. The stranger's boots. They are absolutely clean and dry. If he had walked through a blizzard, they should be caked with snow, but they look like he just walked out of another room. The hero slams the door shut. The stranger doesn't leave. He circles the house, stands under the windows, and simply looks up. Then he starts breaking into the back door. The hero barricades himself in the bedroom with the knife. After an eternity, the police arrive. And this is what scares me the most. The police find the car, but the engine is cold. And between the car and the house, pristine, untouched snow. No footprints. Tracks were only found around the house. Where did he come from? Did he fly? But the real horror overtook the hero in the morning. By the light of the sun, he saw dirty handprints. On the outside, on his bedroom window. The window is on the second floor. Whoever was breaking into the house didn't just want to enter. He was watching the sleeper, and he knew how to levitate. The ghost skier. At first, David thought someone's car had broken down. He reached for the PA microphone, but his hand froze. The person stood absolutely still. The wind was bending the trees. Snow was flying horizontally, but the figure didn't flinch. Neither clothes nor hair moved. And the creepiest part, he was wearing a summer suit, a light blazer. He hobbles down on one ski. The pain is hellish. No strength left. He's ready to die. And then, through the veil of snow, a figure appears. Another skier. It seems like a miracle. The stranger silently offers a shoulder. The hero leans on him. They walk together, shoulder to shoulder. The savior was strange. He radiated not warmth, but a kind of stillness. He said a phrase that stuck in the memory. Haven't used my legs in a long time. Nice to feel solid ground again. The hero laughed, writing it off as a joke. They stopped to rest. The hero closed his eyes for just 4 seconds. Opening his eyes, he saw emptiness. The skier had vanished, but there was nowhere to vanish to. The hero looked at his feet. There was only one set of tracks on the snow, his own. An hour of walking. For an hour, he leaned on someone's shoulder. He felt the fabric of the jacket, the muscles beneath it. But the snow says otherwise. He was alone. Later, he found the news. A couple of weeks prior, a skier had died on that same slope. The body was never found. Maybe the hero's brain invented a savior to keep him from giving up. Or did the one lying there under the layers of snow just want to help and feel what it's like to walk on earth again? The dead season shift. A night watchman at a campsite closed for the winter notices a figure on the cameras that moves only when he isn't looking. Isolation changes how we see the world. But what if your eyes are deceiving you? What if the only window into reality is the lens of an old CCTV camera? And what it shows is impossible. Our final story took place in Minnesota, at a tourist base closed until spring. David worked as a night watchman. A dream job. Sit in the warmth, watch TV shows, walk the perimeter once an hour. The base is empty. The nearest town is 30 kilometers down a snow-covered highway. At 2 a.m., the blizzard began. David was sitting in front of the monitors when he noticed it. On camera number 4, the far parking lot, a person was standing. At first, David thought someone's car had broken down. He reached for the PA microphone, but his hand froze. The person stood absolutely still. The wind was bending the trees. Snow was flying horizontally, but the figure didn't flinch. Neither clothes nor hair moved. And the creepiest part, he was wearing a summer suit, a light blazer. David blinked, just for a split second. When he opened his eyes, the figure was no longer in the parking lot. It was standing at the gates. It covered 50 meters in a fraction of a second. Without moving, it just appeared closer. David grabbed a flashlight and ran outside. He shone it on the gates. There was no one there, just snow. Clean, smooth snow. No tracks. He returned to the booth, trying to calm himself. Just seeing things. Exhaustion. He looked at the monitors. Camera 1, gates, empty. Camera 2, main entrance, empty. Camera 3, main building hallway. The figure was standing there, inside, in the locked main building. The face was blurred by pixels, but David saw the creature was smiling. The mouth was too wide, an unnaturally black void on a white face. The creature looked straight into the camera, straight at David. It raised a hand and waved slowly. The movement was jerky, like in stop-motion animation. David grabbed the phone to dial 911. No signal. The lines were down from the storm. He looked at the screen again. The hallway was empty. But now he heard a sound, not from the speakers. In reality, a knock at his booth door. The knocking was polite, quiet. David didn't breathe. The booth window was covered by blinds. He only saw a shadow outside, the shadow of a man in a blazer. A voice spoke right behind the thin glass. The voice was flat, devoid of intonation. David, shift is over. Open up. How did it know his name? David, I'm cold. Open up. David couldn't take it. He had to know who it was. He approached the window and lifted the plastic slat of the blinds by a millimeter. He expected to see a face, a mask, a monster. But he saw nothing. Only when he looked closer did he realize. Pressed right up against the glass, filling the entire field of view, was a huge, unblinking human eye. Lidless, it was staring right inside. A police patrol arrived 2 days later when the roads were cleared. David was not found. The booth was in order. The coffee on the table was covered with a crust of ice. The only oddity the investigators found was in the CCTV footage. The last 2 hours of recording had been erased, and on the monitor, right in the center of the screen, someone had drawn a smiley face with a marker. The smile was drawn too wide. Winter is coming, and the next time a blizzard howls outside your window, listen closely. Perhaps it isn't the wind. Perhaps someone is standing at your door, in clean boots, waiting for you to turn the key.